File 16, the house with 2 basements. The realtor started the walkthrough before I even had the lens cap fully off. She wanted natural energy, which usually meant wide pans, soft laughs, and slow shots of countertops nobody could afford. The house sat alone at the end of a dead subdivision road, too large for the lot, too quiet for the neighborhood, with black windows that reflected more sky than they should have. Through the camcorder, everything looked flatter than real life, but the front door still bothered me. It was already open 3 inches when we walked up, like the house had been waiting for the key and got tired of pretending it needed one. Inside, the place looked staged but unfinished, like someone had copied a luxury listing from memory and missed small details. The furniture was real, but too centered. The rug didn't quite line up with the room. Every bulb gave off a yellow light that felt older than the fixtures around it. The realtor kept talking in that bright sales voice about crown molding and storage and incredible lower-level flexibility, and I followed her down a hallway that seemed longer through the viewfinder than it did to my own eyes. When I lowered the camera, it ended near the kitchen. When I raised it again, there were 2 extra doors on the left wall. She laughed when I asked if the floor plan online was outdated. "Only 1 basement," she said without turning around. "Finished lower level. Utility room. Storage. That's it." She said it too quickly, like she'd answered that before. At the end of the hall was a narrow door painted the same color as the wall. She opened it and showed me the basement stairs. Just basic wooden steps dropping into a clean, renovated lower floor with recessed lights and gray walls. Normal. So normal it almost reset me. Laundry area, dry bar, small office nook, the kind of basement people brag about. Then I swung the camera right, and on the tiny flip screen I caught another staircase beyond the utility room wall. I lowered the camera and looked with my own eyes. Blank wall, water heater, shelving. I raised the camera again, and the second staircase was back, narrow and steep, lit by a weak bulb swinging somewhere out of frame. I took 2 steps toward it before the realtor snapped my name hard enough to make me flinch. When I turned, she was standing at the base of the real stairs with that same smile she'd used upstairs, except now it looked tired, like it had been left on too long. She said the house had some reflective weirdness because of the way the remodel mirrors were placed. There were no mirrors in that room. I asked her to stay still and did a slow pan of the room, trying to catch the trick. On playback, the footage didn't match what I remembered recording. The utility room was longer, the shelves were gone. The second staircase was fully visible now, and at the top of it, where the fake wall should have been, stood a door with peeling paint and a brass knob worn almost black. The timestamp glitched and skipped backward 3 seconds. Then a shape moved behind the door frame. Not a full person, just part of a shoulder, then fingers curling away from the edge as if whoever was down there didn't want to be filmed yet. The realtor stopped talking altogether after that. She climbed halfway back up the real basement stairs and told me we were done, but she wouldn't come down to get me. Her voice had changed. Less sales pitch, more rehearsed warning. She said every time someone brought a camera in, the house tried to finish itself. I asked her what that meant, and she stared at the lens instead of me. "It adds rooms," she said. "Then it adds the version of you that went inside them." The second staircase on the screen looked deeper now, the angle stretched wrong, as if each step had flattened and lengthened to make the drop feel impossible. I should have gone back up. Instead, I zoomed in. The old door at the bottom of the second stairs had numbers scratched into it. Not an address, not a room number, just a vertical stack of marks, like someone had been counting days or people. The camera microphone picked up a sound that I hadn't heard in the room itself. Footsteps below, soft and patient, matching my breathing pattern between each inhale. I took 1 step closer, and the finished basement lights above me dimmed. Not flickered. Dimmed, all at once. Like something downstairs had turned a dial and decided how much of the room I was allowed to keep. The second I put a foot on the staircase that only existed through the lens, the room changed around me. I felt the step under my shoe. I heard the wood creak, and when I turned back, the renovated basement was gone. No gray walls, no dry bar, no recessed lights, just poured concrete, exposed stone, hanging pipes, and a ceiling so low I had to duck instinctively. The air sounded different too. Heavy, padded, like the house was wrapped around us instead of standing in open space. At the top of the stairs, where the utility room should have been, I could still see the rectangle of my old basement on the camcorder screen only. With my eyes, there was just darkness. On the far wall was a framed floor plan. I don't mean hanging neatly. I mean bolted into the concrete like it was evidence. The plan showed the house above, the real basement below it, and then one more level under that labeled only with a black square where the rooms should have been. No names, no dimensions, just a shape. When I aimed the camera closer, the square filled in with detail. Corridors, storage rooms, a furnace chamber, and one long room at the bottom labeled viewing area. That label wasn't visible with my eyes, only through the screen. Behind me, in the dark, something let out a quiet breath that wasn't mine. I spun around and finally caught it. Not clearly. Never clearly. A figure stood at the base of another set of stairs farther down, tall enough that its head blended with the pipes and beams above it. It wasn't rushing me. It wasn't even coming closer. It just stood there with one arm lifted, holding something rectangular at chest height. When I zoomed, my stomach dropped. It was a camera. Old, boxy, pointed straight at me. Then another red tally light clicked onto the left, and another to the right. The dark room below wasn't empty. It was full of shapes holding cameras, all aimed upward like they'd been waiting for the walkthrough to finally reach them. I ran. The footage gets ugly there. Breath spikes, frame tears, walls smearing into gray streaks. But one detail stays sharp every time I replay it. As I climbed back toward where the first basement should have been, I passed a landing that did not exist on the way down. On it was a small furnished room with a lamp, a rug, and a camera tripod facing an empty chair. Mounted on the wall above the chair was a framed still image from my own footage. Me entering the house through the front door 10 minutes earlier. I don't remember screaming, but the audio peaks there, and every light in the frame cuts out at once. The video ends upstairs in the foyer. The realtor is gone. The front door is open wider than before. Wind is moving through the house even though none of the windows are open. On the entry table, where there hadn't been anything at the start of the tour, lies a printed brochure for the property. Same smiling photo, same listing copy. But the features page has changed. It now says, 3 levels below grade, flexible viewing space, separate access for repeated showings. The camera tilts down one last time, catching dirt on my shoes that wasn't there when I entered. Dark, damp soil with tiny white chips in it, like crushed paint or old plaster. Then, from somewhere under the floorboards, you hear a door open. If this file got under your skin, that means it worked. Drop a comment with the moment that hit hardest, and subscribe before the next tape surfaces. More POV horror files are coming, and some of them don't stay on the floor plan.